What a way to start. Say hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett, joined by my guy, Bobano. Bobano, how are you doing today?
Yeah, it's a crazy day. Obviously, a trade deadline less than an hour away in Major League Baseball. A flurry of deals have already been made, and one just got shot down, courtesy of Eduardo Rodriguez saying no to the LA Dodgers. And I actually respect him for that. You would think, you're going to a pretty good team, chance to be in the playoffs and maybe win a World Series. And he said, no, they're not one of the teams I was ever interested in going, so I'm not. Too bad.
Yeah, it's very funny. He just remembers the 2018 World Series, and he knows what it's like there, and he knows what it's like to beat them there. So he's like, you know what? No, thanks. It's very funny to see that. But shout out to my guy Eddie there. Justin Verlander getting traded to the Astros, kind of very obvious move there. Michael Lorenzen's getting traded to the Phillies. All these things happening. The Cardinals are out quiet today, even though that your team got DeJong today, and I thought Bo Bichette ripped his ACL, and I was like, oh God, and now he's okay. So it's gonna be an interesting, I don't know, next hour or so. Like you said, I'm excited to see what these trades end up being, especially for the Cardinals. I want to see where Flaherty goes. I'm very interested in that. Is there anyone you want to see traded in the next, 40 minutes ish?
Well, obviously, there's still some bats that are out there. St. Louis has been just in an absolute fire sale right here the last few days, with giving away a lot of Mets, of course, knowing that their colossal disaster of a season is pretty much now complete. This big, high-priced, biggest payroll team, just a complete and utter disaster and failure of epic proportions this season. So they've already traded away Verlander and Scherzer, and there's probably going to be potentially more in that regard. But no, when you look at the landscape here, the thing is a lot of the bats, the bigger bats have already been dealt. So there's not a whole lot still on the table. There's some decent bats. I think Teoscar Hernandez is certainly one that some teams are after. Phillies, Giants, Twins, his former team, the Blue Jays, have all shown interest in him. Not a great defender in the outfield, but maybe, you put him in the lineup. He's capable of power. He's capable of delivering big hits. And certainly someone that will help anybody offensively. So there's still some time left before we see the deadline come to a close. So there's still going to be some moves, and it'll be interesting to see. It's funny to see the Chicago Cubs as buyers. Just this little push that they've been on here the last week or two to get themselves above 500, and all you need to be in the friggin' brutal NL Central is just a little above 500, and you're suddenly still in the mix. And certainly they are a huge series right now with the Cincinnati Reds for them at Wrigley Field going on, and we'll talk about that. Huge series for the Cubs. They dropped the opener last night, but they're making a push, and it's a team that feels that they want to reward their team for a strong last couple of weeks and try to make them better and push for this NL Central, which is still wide open. It's not like we trust the Cincinnati Reds to be home free from everybody in this division.
It's pretty surprising to see, like I said, Jack Flaherty not getting any love either. I think just get him away from the Cardinals. I think he's going to be pretty good. So,
Yep.
And there's a lot of teams that really haven't done anything, like the Orioles haven't done anything today, but we'll see how that all shakes out. Let's talk about these games now. Let's shout out the chat as always. A big chat in here popping on a trade deadline day. So everyone wanted to talk baseball. Feels nice.
By the way, just a word of disclosure regarding the recommendations, and I've got a high volume once again, but minuscule units high volume. All right, we're talking 0.1 unit, 0.2 units, not even a quarter of a unit or a half a unit on many of these bets that I've got going tonight because of just the lineup uncertainty and player personnel moving left and right all across the landscape on this deadline day. So yeah, it's a high volume day, but it's not the typical Ian Cameron high volume day. It's very low units with each bet.
Yeah, I only have 3 bets today, and we'll see how that all shakes out here. But I kind of feel the same way, and one of them I'm just straight tailing my guy Sharpie, so shout out to him. But appreciate everyone watching. Slow Jams, Arsenault in here, Sancho in here, Ramos, Justin McElvey. We've got Rocco Rogers in here as well, and Justin McElvey Stacks Pod is Austin Riley RBI. Shout out to you, my guy. We got Perky Sanderson now a member of the channel in here as well, so appreciate you, my man. He's ready to get this going, and his big booty Latina bet of the day Astros money line. So I love to see that from that you, my man. We've got BJ in here, big boy bets on the Orioles as well. And I'm very excited to see how this all shakes out, like I've been saying. So let's get right into it, Bobano. First game on our card here as I scroll. Those aforementioned Phillies versus the Marlins, who the Marlins are picking up bats, and that's basically what they needed. Jake Berger, one of the more surprising names to get dealt. And if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have been like, what, huh? But he's been pretty good this year. Like one of the only good bats for the White Sox that has not been. What's his name? Luis Robert. I was going to say Jimenez, but he just hasn't been there because he's over there. But it's an interesting scenario here for the Marlins, and Ranger Suarez has kind of been. He's just been struggling last two starts. 4 earned runs both, 6 innings and 7 hits against the Orioles, who are a good team against lefties, but not a good start there. And then 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs for him at Cleveland, a team that does not hit lefties even a little bit. So I've stayed off of this game, Bobano. The Marlins numbers against lefties are good. So for me, it's Marlins or pass here. And market-wise, before we move on or before I pass it to you, I'll mention it real quick. 77% of the bets and 79% of the money on the Miami Marlins. While the total, we have 53% of the bets and 74% of the money on the over in this game. Yeah. So it's Marlins against lefties. I can see it, but nothing here for me.
Yeah, I did play the Marlins. Again, small across the board with everything tonight, but I thought they were worth a bet here. I think Sandy had his best start of the entire season, and we were waiting for something resembling the Sandy Alcantara of last year, and we just haven't seen it for the most part. But there's not much better that you can put out there than a complete game shutout, giving up just one or complete game 1 run allowed victory against Tampa Bay in his last start. So I thought it was right up there as one of Sandy's best outings here of the season. 7-1 victory for Miami. And really in the month of July, he's been good. He's given up 3 runs or less in 3 of his last 4 starts. Has been kind of snake bit by the fact he hasn't won many of these starts, but it really isn't because he hasn't pitched good. It's just that the run support bullpen has had some issues, those kind of things. But he shut down the Phillies here in Miami when he faced them last month. 1 run allowed in 6.2 innings. And Ranger Suarez, you wonder with him, is he running out of gas? Is the number of innings he's pitched, maybe starting to take a toll? Because he has not been anything close to what he was maybe a month or so ago. It was a rough month of July, giving up 4 runs or more in 4 of his last 5 starts. Grand total of 20 runs allowed for Ranger here in his last, just tallying it up here, about 27 innings or so, 20 runs. That's not very good. I think Miami's capable of doing some damage here against him. Bounce back spot, which I like for Miami. A tough loss yesterday in the opener against Philadelphia. So, and the thing about the Phillies too is they've been a win one, lose one, win one, lose one kind of team lately. So, yeah, Miami is a small favorite. I bet him. I thought it was worth it.
Yeah, I'd probably agree there, but I'm pass on this game. I'm keeping it tight today. So we'll just move on from this one. And shout out to everyone in here. Torrey Kokra, Marlins first 5, Philly Eagle Flyer is fading his Phillies here. Miami first 3 and first 5. So, that makes that's an impressive thing, or a thing that Peter Loshak keeps note of. It's when a guy that's a fan of a team fades his team. So something to keep an eye out there. Let's go to our next game, Milwaukee Brewers, Washington Nationals, Josiah Gray, Freddie Peralta. This game does scream under, doesn't it, Boban? I'm sure the whole market's on the under in this game. Let's look at it real quick. Shockingly enough, and I guess this is why I wasn't on the under, and I remember it, 62% of the bets, and wow, that was a gigantic change that just happened in front of me. 64% of the bets, and a big bet on the under just came in because it was about like 60% of the bets, but only 30% of the money. And it just moved 64% of the bets and 54% of the money now on the under in this game. So it's very interesting. I like the under in this game. Totals or money line wise is about 50-50 for the money spread, but 69% of the bets on the Brewers. So you can see people are taking Josiah Gray as a dog, and he's been one of my favorite pitchers to bet on the Nationals. He's been a good dog price pitcher. He's been hot recently. I haven't moved on him here, but if you guys are betting the Nationals here first 5, I wouldn't hate it at all.
Yeah, I like the Nationals here as a potential live home dog. Hell, they gave Milwaukee problems last night, and look, Peralta's good too. I think Peralta and Gray, actually, their strikeout props are worth a sprinkle, both of them here in this game. But I think Washington's worth a look here. Believe it or not, their bullpen settled down a little bit. It was absolutely terrible in the last most of the season, but actually it's been a little bit better. Like Milwaukee suddenly, the bullpen has had some issues late in games as of late. And Josiah Gray is always that one pitcher in this team that I will back, and I don't really hesitate backing him, especially at decent prices, coming off some really nice starts in the month of July. So, I know Milwaukee is obviously in a division battle and a wild card battle right now, playing for playoff lives, if you will, but doesn't mean you're always going to win. And I thought at this price, taking a shot with Gray, worth a bet.
Fucking Ken Rosenthal got my hopes up because he tweeted something. And I was like, oh. But of course, it's just the Eddie Rodriguez news. Mike, shout out to my guy, Jeff Patton, again. A tree fell on his ass, broke his fucking back, and he's out there in his bed, probably tweeting like this, just face up, kicking Ken Rosenthal's ass with a broken back. So shout out to Jeff Passan.
I guess he's become like the top insider now, Jeff Passan, in baseball over anybody else. Although there's other guys that do pretty good work. Nightingale's fallen off the map. He's not even a blip on the radar anymore.
Yeah,
Bob Nightingale. Yeah, John Heyman's fallen behind. I like Morosi. Morosi does a pretty good job actually, but you're right. I think the standard right now is probably Jeff Passan.
Fucking doing with broken back. Yeah. That guy. Shout out to him. AL East battle, Rays, Yankees. This is the first bet I made last night, and I'm just, again, still shocked. This line is still where it is. It kind of went up to minus 120 earlier. We'll check and see what it is right now. But I bet the over in this game, Bobano. I don't think Carlos Rodon can hold on to this Rays lineup. And there's been two lineups this last month, just two of them, that have been kind of avoided for lefties. Like, I guess everyone else knows that they're good against lefties and they shouldn't throw them against the Rays and the Braves because both teams had under 100 at-bats against lefties in the whole month of July. And I was like, wow, okay. That's interesting because the Rays are 30th in that month, but only 98 plate appearances. I'll take the bigger sample size of them being third, 119 weighted runs created plus against lefties more into account. And I think there might be a little fear there. And on the other side, obviously, Eflin, a 5 ERA on the road. I don't trust him here, but if there's an offense that will make him look good, it might be the New York Yankees. I'm just going to hope that the Yankees can figure it out. They've got Judgy in the lineup, I'm sure. They're at home. Just show up here, New York. Show up. So over 8, minus 115 for me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a very simple price play. There's no way these two teams should be priced in the similar range right now. And I've not been impressed with Carlos Rodon since he's come back from the injured list. He's had some games where he's been roughed up. He's been giving up the home run ball. I just don't think he's the Carlos Rodon we've seen in the past at times. Look, Zach Eflin's hit some turbulence too. I mean, you can't make it sound like he's been great here the last month. He's had a couple of rough starts, but the last time he did have a rough start, he turned it around against a great Baltimore Orioles lineup and shut him out in 7 innings the last time he had a bad start. So he came off a bad start, shut down a really good Baltimore team. He did get roughed up in his last start by Miami, but he showed the ability to bounce back earlier this month in July. I think he'll bounce back here because this lineup's pathetic. Simple as that right now for the New York Yankees. This is just as our guy Dutch would say, dis-motherfucking respectful price to the Tampa Bay Rays. So easy bet decision for me to take Tampa even money. Full game. Better team, better lineup, better bullpen, better everything right now.
Agreed. I'm not on it, but I agree there'd be Tampa Bay Rays or nothing for me. I don't know how people could back the Yankees here. Market-wise in this game, 54% of the bets and 77% of the money on the Rays here.
I don't hate the over, but I think I'd like a Tampa total over more than the Yankees. I mean, it's tough to trust, even against Eflin, who's shown a couple of cracks in the armor the last month. It's just that lineup is feeble, and that's putting it mildly.
Well, I continue to be the only asshole on the over, apparently, because 12% of the bets and 26% of the money is on the over. So maybe I'm just a big dumb dummy. I don't know, but this just screamed over to me. And I bet this last night thinking this isn't gonna go to stay at 8. This is gonna go to 8.5. Like what? And we'll see. We'll see here. But I was pretty shocked to see this is an 8. So I'm excited. Let's go to the next game here, and it'd be a real shame if both these teams gave up some runs. It'd be a real shame. I'd hate to see it. Detroit, Pittsburgh, next game up, Obey. I chose 3 games that I didn't give a fuck about. And this is predictably one of those games I did not give a fuck about. I have no desire to back either pitcher here. The Pirates are selling. The Tigers are both they're selling too. I'm testing on a theory today. Fade the fucking selling teams.
Yep.
And you can't really fade either one of these guys against each other. So I pass on this game. Market in it real quick. Total to start off, 56% of the bets, 88% of the money on the over in this game. And on the money line, 41% of the bets and 82% of the money on the Tigers there. So I'd be interested in the Tigers just based off the market, but I have no desire to have my money on this game. So I pass.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 teams going forward. I'll probably be looking for spots to bet against them. And I just think Pittsburgh as a favorite is a far worse option here. Pittsburgh has got already a lineup that's been scuffling. They obviously they send G-Man Choi and a couple of players to San Diego earlier today. So, they're selling. Detroit is obviously looking to sell. But I just think I like Matt Manning a little bit more than Oviedo right now. I like the Tigers lineup a little bit more than Pittsburgh right now. So to me, just getting a dog price with the Tigers. And, Manning did have a rough start against the Angels. Prior to that, you look at his July, though, he pitched pretty well for Detroit. So I just think Detroit, to me, that they got a slightly better lineup. I think they have the better arm on the mound, and they're the dog. So I actually think the wrong team's favored here. So for that reason, I took Detroit here around plus 105.
Bobana, would you like to hear a very funny fact? Or I'll let you guess this, I guess. Everyone but one team has made a trade so far this year before the trade deadline. Do you know what that one team that hasn't made a trade yet is?
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. I'm trying to think. One team that has not made a trade yet. Kansas City?
No, they have made a trade. Shout out to Nicky Lopez.
That's right. Nicky Lopez went there. Oh, shit. One team in all of baseball hasn't made a trade yet.
Boban, I hate to see that this is happening. I hate to see that.
Your Red Sox.
No, it's the New York Yankees, unfortunately.
Oh, the Yankees. Of course. Actually, you know what? That's stupid. I didn't get that. Yeah, the Yankees, of course.
The Yankees have not done a single thing. You hate to see that. Shout out to Joel Sherman for that tweet. Let's go to this next game.
They don't know what to do. That's why. They don't know if to buy or if they should sell, honestly. They're not going anywhere with this team right now.
Yeah, they stink.
It's not in their DNA to sell off parts. You're not when you're the New York Yankees. So I don't see them doing that.
Nope. They're just going to run it into the ground with what they got. And it's going to be very funny to watch. And they're going to re-sign Aaron Boone. And I can't wait for it. Orioles, Blue Jays here. And the return of Hyunjin Ryu here. I looked at his rehab starts, and I was very impressed. I didn't go as deep into looking at the velocity like Jimmy did earlier this morning. His velocity was down. It wasn't like as high as you want it to be, but he apparently touched the 90s. And in my head, I was thinking, he's never really been a velocity guy. Like, it's 90. In 2016, his velocity was around 90. Average fastball velocity, 90. I was like, okay. And you look at it, it's obviously progressed down and down and down. But I think he can manage. The most important thing for me in his rehab starts, barely any walks. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs off 2 home runs, 5 Ks, 1 walk, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, no walks, 4 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 K, no walk, and 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, no walks. I'm pretty impressed by that. And admittedly, I kind of want to back him here. I've kind of had this thing, Boban, over the last couple of days of backing these pitchers coming off of something, like Syndergaard, for example. I backed Syndergaard. Alek Manoah, backed him in his first time. I bet you bet the first under in that start and lost as the Blue Jays hammered the other team. But I kind of want to back the Blue Jays here against the Orioles. Shout out to my guy, BJ. He got a big boy bet on the Orioles here, and Cashed both of those yesterday, I believe, and he was chilling. So I almost went against him on both of them actually. So I'm glad I didn't. And I kind of want to be off here. The other thing I looked at, Urbano, was the first 5 under in this game because I thought, I understand Bradish got touched up in his last start, but I think he could come back and pitch pretty well here. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run against these Blue Jays earlier in the season. But let's talk about the market here first. Let's see here. Market for the total to begin with. 54% of the bets and 80% of the money on the over in this game. So not ideal. Not ideal if you were an under better. And then sidewise here, 50-50 money split with 58% of the bets on the Blue Jays here. And the line has moved towards the Blue Jays. So that's very interesting. What do you think, Bobano?
Yeah, I'm passing. For me, it's Baltimore pass. I actually took the Jays last night because it's the Sunday night baseball fade angle, which has been pretty good all year. Baltimore traveling from playing the Yankees on Sunday night to Toronto. And I thought it set up perfectly because they had Chris Bassett on the mound against Gibson. I thought the Jays in a bounce back spot after losing to the Angels. And there were a lot of things in the Jays' favor, and they still couldn't win. And they are still getting owned by the Baltimore Orioles and really by the AL East. They're 7-21 against the AL East this year. You want to know why the Blue Jays are in a spot where they're just trying to hang on to a wild card spot instead of maybe battling for first in the division? Their divisional record is why. They just stink in the division. They just have not been able to put enough wins on the board against Baltimore, Tampa Bay, especially those two teams they've struggled with. Boston even they've had a tough time with this year. The Blue Jays. Really, the only team they got a halfway decent record against is the Yankees, and even then, it's not great. So their record in the division's bad. I have no idea what we're going to get from Ryu here tonight. He did look good in his rehab starts in the minors, but let's see it against one of the more deep, balanced lineups in baseball. 1 through 9, they take good at bats, Baltimore. And I am a big Bradish fan. I think he's a pretty good pitch. I know he had a bad last start, but he shut down the Jays earlier this year, 1 run in 7 innings. A strong performance shutting down this Jays lineup. So we know he can pitch capably well against the Jays. So I just feel like I was on the Jays last night. They lost. I was thinking Baltimore today. But Jays might be fired up for Ryu's return. And I feel that if I'm on Baltimore today, watch the Jays win. But yeah, for me, it's still Baltimore nothing. I think this team is still getting disrespected at the moment. So it's a pass for me, but I lean Orioles.
It's funny how just poorly the line maker and such look at the Orioles here. By the way, BJ correct in the chat. I had this earlier today. It was about -110 for me, and it's gone to the Blue Jays a little bit here. But this opened up last night at -126 for the Toronto Blue Jays, and has steadily creeped towards the Orioles kind of the whole day.
This is the division leader, a dog, against a team that's been owned in the division and a team that's got a guy that hasn't pitched in a year on the mound for them. And that's where we're at with the level of respect, apparently, right now in the betting markets for Baltimore.
I'm going to move on the Orioles first 5 in full game. This is also a game without Bo Bichette, obviously, who no structural damage, which was nice. Me and Dennis Garcia were both instinctively like, oh, there he goes. His ACL's gone as soon as it happened. But they don't have DeJong yet, obviously. I don't think he'll be in the lineup, so they'll have a big hole there as well. So, I think Ryu could pitch well here, but still give me the Orioles and a bullpen and the Blue Jays that I still don't trust, even with Hicksy. And we'll see what they do with that here. So
funny, I was actually watching this game with a few friends of mine, and many of them are Jays fans. I actually do deep down inside want to see the Jays do well, but I'm not one of those diehard, hardcore Blue Jays fans. As I always say, I'm more of a fan of my wallet and my bankroll, who I back on a night-to-night basis matters more than anything. But even as someone that's not as big a Jays fan as my friends of mine, who were just absolutely going nuts on that home plate umpire in the 8th inning last night with that bad strike 3 call on Chapman, which completely changed the complexion of that inning when they were down 4-2. And even at that point, I was like, you know what? I've had it. Robot umps, let's go. Come on down. Robot umpires, let's go. I'm sick of this shit. I mean, these human umps are getting worse and worse rapidly behind home plate. And it's not all their fault. I'm not trying to say that it's all their fault. They're all horrible. it's because it's a product of maybe their performance maybe suffering a bit, but it's a product of all of these flame-throwing deliveries now and all of these change of speeds and just the dip in the pitches now. And all of a sudden, how it just can change velocities and change, arm angles. And it's just very, very difficult to nail down an accurate ball and strike call. More difficult for a human umpire than ever before. So for that reason, and the fact that, again, these home plate umpires are getting worse with the bad balls and strikes calls, it's time. It's time.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I tweet about it often. Robot umpires immediately. Not even just like it's and when we say robot umpires, we're not literally meaning like no one back there and it's just being like a green light, red light situation. Have the umpires back there calling balls and strikes, but have the automated ball strike system going as well, and have the hitters be able to challenge. You've probably seen the videos on the internet when they just raise their hand. It takes 2 seconds. Very tennis-esque.
Like tennis, yeah. Tennis got it right. Why can't baseball, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Shout out to D Mills, by the way, saying Wu-Tang forever. Bobano, Nasty Nate taught me who Method Man was last time I saw him. So I felt very proud when I saw that Method Man was a Jets fan. I was like, I know who that is.
There you go. The METHOD, man. Yeah. Method Man.
So I was very proud of myself there. So shout out to Nasty Nate, wherever you are, my guy. And there he is in the chat. Speaking of him, Angels, Braves. Let's talk Spencer Strider here, Patrick Sandoval. And it's very funny. I just mentioned the Rays were one of the two teams that don't get lefties thrown against them very often. The Braves are the other team. They kill them. They murder them. And I was like, all right, well, they just aren't going to throw. No one's going to throw lefties against them because, as I turn my page of notes here, first full season, 133 weighted runs created plus, and last month they only had 85 plate appearances against a lefty. 85, that's crazy.
Yep.
And now Patrick Sandoval, who admittedly is a pretty good lefty. We all remember his WBC. His last, his regular season hasn't been the best, but his last few starts have been solid. At Detroit, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. Against the Yankees, 7 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run. Both teams suck at hitting. We know that. But Bobano, after having Spencer Strider go against my squad, I've kind of soured on Strider. I'm not going to lie. It's just like the first time through the order, he'll blow you away and all that. But then after you see him once, it's like all the hitters kind of figure it out. It's just fastball slider. And if it's just 2 pitches for a major league hitter, I mean, they're going to get it eventually.
He's got to expand his arsenal. He's got to add a third consistent pitch. You got to be excellent, and you got to be pinpoint if you're going to be a 2-pitch pitcher. But unfortunately for Strider right now is the common stat line for him is, he gives you the 10 to 13 strikeouts, but he's given up 4 or 5 runs and 2 or 3 homers, in every start. And, he's getting hit as well when he's not missing, and he misses bats a lot because he's got filthy stuff, especially with the 2 pitches he uses. But at the same point in time, he's also, when he does miss, he can get taken out of the yard. And that's what we're seeing. That's why this is a game where I've got 2 bets. You would think, and I'm with everybody else. I like the Strider over 9.5 strikeouts at minus 130, minus 140. I think he's going to hit double digits. We know the Angels are a strikeout prone team. There's no look what Charlie Oldman Morton did against them last night. So I definitely like that over 9.5 strikeouts, but I also like the over in this game, over 9 here with the Angels and Braves. I think this is a higher scoring game. I like that we had a low scoring game last night. It's very rare that we see Atlanta games 2 nights in a row be, 3-1, 4-1 type of game like that. And I like the Angels. I took the Angels last night, believe it or not, as a big dog. I like that spot. Them coming off the Toronto series, maybe a little flat spot for Atlanta. It kind of looked that way. But I'm not taking Sandoval here because I think Atlanta could do some damage against him. Sandoval's been all over the map here of late for them. If you look at his recent results, last couple were good, but don't forget he got clobbered by the White Sox, struggled against the Rockies as well in his last few starts. So I think the Atlanta lineup can match up well. And like I said with Strider, I mean, for as much as he gets the Ks, which I think he will tonight, he's given up 12 runs in his last 18 innings, which isn't that great, to be honest. He's given up runs to the opposing team, even with the strikeouts. So it's a weird approach. It's a rare, unique approach, but we got the K prop over for Strider, but we also have the full game total over the 9 at -115.
Yeah, I like that over, Urbano. I really do. I'm on Spencer Strider strikeouts. Shout out to Sharpie as always. It was my first strikeout prop I bet all year, and he said this was like a mortgage prop for him. So I'm on it, no problem. By the way, the Rangers are acquiring Austin Hedges from the Pirates. It's extremely someone that has a ticket to for the ticket for the Rangers to miss the playoffs. It's very annoying. That's actually better for their pitching, more there for anything else. So we'll see what Jonah Heim's on the IL too. So who cares?
Great point by Troy about Baltimore. First half might be a better option tonight. That last night's game, Yennier Cano was used, the setup guy. Felix Bautista, the closer, over 30 pitches to wiggle out of that jam that he was in the 9th inning against the Jays last night. And I doubt he's available for Brandon Hyde tonight. So that is a depleted, shorthanded bullpen tonight, possibly for Baltimore. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, I have first 5 in full game written down. I will. Very interesting. I will keep that in mind, Troy, and I will probably I will keep that in mind and maybe end up only on first 5 there. So shout out to you there, Troy.
Yep.
I like the over in this game. Let's talk about the market real quick before we move on here. 81% of the bets and 61% of the money on the over in this game, and for the money line side, 69% of the bets and 51% of the money on the Atlanta Braves there. So shout out to the Chop House. Next game, next bet for me. I made this bet earlier in the day as well. Bovada sometimes puts out games without pitchers listed and just has action bets. And this is what happened here. I bet the Twins -121, knowing, of course, Cardinals are shipping out people. Let's fade the team that's losing half of their buddies and their pals. Who knows what kind of lineup we're getting from the Cardinals tonight. So I just took that money line, kind of expecting it to go up, and now it's at -130. Shout out to my guy Pablo Lopez. The Sharpie had some good comments earlier today about Sharpie's K prop being lower than expected or lower than it has been for the last 5 weeks. So that's obviously a concern. So maybe an over in this game as well. But I have the Twins full game money line -121 here. Cardinals, like I said, on a full tear down. Who knows what's going to be in their lineup? And in the next about 25 minutes, we'll definitely figure that out here because I don't think Flaherty will be there. I don't think their outfielder, whose name escapes me, will be there. And we'll see what happens. But that's what I have, Bobana. We'll talk about the market here in a second. But would like to hear what you have this game.
No, I mean, total agreement. Definitely. Minnesota was one of the first bets I made on this card as a short road favorite. Better team, better starter. I've never been a Miles Michaelis fan, and even this year he's been way too inconsistent, more bad than good. And I'm a Pablo Lopez guy, and I like Lopez over strikeouts here tonight as well in this game for the Minnesota Twins. So really not much more to add than that. We know St. Louis is selling. They're going to have a depleted lineup probably going into this game tonight, at least until they get some of the call-ups brought up from AAA. So, yeah, the price is cheap. The price is reasonable. Minnesota for me as well.
By the way, the Pirates got international signing bonus or pool money, and with Asian and Korean big-time players coming up, that could be very interesting for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Very interesting. I would really, really, really like for the Red Sox to sign some KBO pitchers next year, especially one. But we'll talk about that at a later time. Let's talk about the market here real quick, Bobano. The Cardinals and Twins game here. 50-50 ticket split for the money line. 53% of the money on the Twins there, so about even. And for the total, wow, pretty surprising, actually. 69% of the bets and only 18% of the money on the over. So big bets on the under here. 82% of the money and only 31% of the bets. So very interesting on that front there. I'm on the money line. I've got nothing else for me there. Bobano, the second of my 3 games that I just did not give a fuck about is next. White Sox, Rangers. Now, this is like -250 earlier in the day. Now it's all the way down to -200. And it's kind of obvious. I've said frequently, I think the Rangers will not make the playoffs. I still semi-believe that. Obviously, they've made a bunch of trades and have gone all in to try to shore up this advantage, but I still don't think they win that division. And then when they get into the wild card fight, who knows what happens there? It's tough, obviously, and then we'll see what happens in the next coming days here. But I don't think Andrew Heaney is a minus 200 pitcher. I don't believe in Jesse Sultans, and I don't believe in the White Sox, obviously, either. So I don't want any part of that. But if I had to put a gun to head and make a bet, it's probably the White Sox, because I just don't think the Rangers should be this high of a favorite with Heaney on the bump. So I'm passing on this game pretty easily. Bobana, what'd you have?
What's crazy, what's funny is the White Sox have, and Tim Anderson, by the way, is still out there on the trade block. We'll see if he gets moved before 6 p.m.
He hasn't.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising, because I think they're looking at suitors for him, but no deal has been made. But yeah, we know the White Sox have, they've traded away a bunch of players here. Jake Berger just got moved to Miami. Ronaldo Lopez out of the bullpen. I mean, it goes on and on, all the different White Sox that have been traded away. But so there's no real rush for me to back them. But I'd probably take them before I lay -1 whatever with Texas right now. A bit of a slumping team, 3-7 in their last 10. Just got swept in San Diego, and they're over the weekend, which definitely is not what you want to see for a team that's trying to hang on for first in the AL West right now. Andrew Heaney's a little bit too erratic for my liking, to be quite honest. You look at the White Sox here as far as against lefties, not what they've been in the past, but serviceable, decent, 4.8 runs per game, 253 average. They've had some success against Heaney in the past. Schultens, you look at when he's made the starts for the White Sox here, he's given up 5 runs in 8.2 innings. It's not very good. So I like the over here. That is the bet I made here. Over 9, over 9.5. Nothing on the side. Slight lean White Sox, but not enough to pull the trigger with everybody that's being traded away for them. This is almost like you got to get this if you're Texas. I mean, Chicago's trading away everybody right now. You've got to stop the bleeding. It's been 1-5 in your last 6 games. You dropped 2 or 3 at Houston. You got swept at San Diego. Got to stop the bleeding and get back on track here if you're Texas. Great spot to do it. I like the spot for Texas. I really do. Day off after getting their ass kicked in San Diego. I think it's a good bounce back spot, but not at this price. Only over the total for me. Over 9 -120.
Ooh, this trade deadline is heating up. Only 20 minutes left. Excited to see what's happening. I've already seen a tweet that Chaim Bloom is scheduled to speak 15 minutes after the trade deadline. That makes me feel like the Sox aren't going to do dick shit. We shall see. I'm very excited to see. I'm just sitting here, Boba, I don't know about you, but these trade deadline days, free agency days, it's just refreshing your Twitter. Just sitting there.
The Boston season's been crazy, the Red Sox, where they have a couple weeks of baseball, which makes you think, they're out of it. This team ain't doing shit this year. And then they'll put together that 1.5 week run where all of a sudden, oh my goodness, they're right back in the, a few games out of the wild card like they are right now. Why aren't we going for it? So that's the kind of spot they're in. They're like the Yankees. They really don't know what they want to do.
Yeah, it's tough. It's extremely annoying as well as a viewer as well, especially when you're on a 3-game losing streak at the worst time to be on. So it's fine. It's fine. Reds, Cubs, everything's fine. The trade line's here. Everything is fine, guys. I have to make of this game, Bobano.
Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill, by the way, they expect them to be traded for St. Louis. So we're just waiting on that. But apparently they will be traded. Likely. It's just a question of where.
Oh, my goodness. I would love Tyler O'Neill in the Boston Red Sox. I very much like Tyler O'Neill. And I think he's just had a rough go of it the last year and a half. Gigantic human being, and not like size-wise. He looks like he's like 5'8". His forearms are huge. Canadian. Played on the WBC team, if I remember correctly.
Worked on his physique a lot more than I have. Let's put it that way. We're Canadian, and that's where these similarities end. Yeah.
You know what? I could see. But Ben, are you sure no one's asked you if you're Tyler O'Neill's brother? Because I could see it. I could see it.
No.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk Cubs Reds here. No. Justin Steele, who's very interesting. I don't know if we're going to see him pitch this well, just continue doing his thing. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run against the Cardinals. I just never know what to do with these kind of guys. I don't know if I should buy in at this point. So I usually stay off, but I pronounced the Reds dead. I was like, this team's not going to keep doing what they're doing the second half of the season. And look at them. They're just winning. They took a series from the Dodgers at the Dodgers, was really impressive. I was thoroughly shocked and happy when they were up 9-0 in the last game of that series. That was cool. They beat the Cubs yesterday. They're 1.5 games up. It's just shocking to say this, but I like the Reds here. I honestly do. I lean that way at a plus 140 price. I think it's just a little bit too expensive here for the or too cheap, whatever you want to call it, for the Reds here. So I passed on this game, but it's Reds or nothing for here for me here. Bobana, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, at this price, it is for me too. And I've been higher on the Reds during this run they've put together than a lot of people. But at the same time, this feels like we got to win this game spot for the Cubs. Okay, this is one of your best pitchers on the mound, Justin Steele. And he's had a good track record against the Reds in the past. I think they got to have this one. It's just now the price has gotten just, to me, a little out of control here on the Cubs. I'm not betting Cincy, but I'm just going to lean that way because I think it's a Cubs spot, and I like Steele. And I do like Steele over strikeouts tonight. Steele over 5.5 strikeouts for the Cubs in this game. But that's the only official bet for me, Steele over strikeouts here.
Shout out to our guy, Joe Walsh. Joe, could you hit me with the numbers on that again? I forgot what the numbers were for that. Bobano, Joe has a question that he asked us yesterday, and we were like, let's just wait until tomorrow and see what the Reds do on the market. But he has a Reds future for them to win the division, and it's like there it is, 13 plus 1,300 there, and he say has $100 on it, I believe. Should he sell it for $400? And he said he said just now, if the Reds don't make a move by the deadline, we'll see. He'll probably sell it, but he wanted to ask yours as well. See what you have to say.
Well, the thing is with the Reds now, plus 110, plus 120. You certainly don't want to bet them now, that's for sure. But with the ticket you have, plus 1,300 to win the division, sell for 400. I'll tell you what, the Cubs are live because the Cubs are trying to make moves right now. And I still worry about this back end of the Reds rotation, quite honestly. And even their bullpen. Like, is there anybody, like their bullpen just, look, even last night, they hung on, but Cubs got back into that game and nearly, came back and won the game against that Reds bullpen. So that Reds bullpen is fearful. To me, if you're going to make a bet to win this division right now, it's Cubs plus 450. That's the team that's got the better upside, I think, and the value is with them right now because I don't trust the Brewers. And I, at that, certainly at the plus 110 price, I've got enough questions with the Reds, and I think there's enough holes with the Reds that the Cubs are still very much live. So I would actually lean to selling to answer that question in a roundabout way.
Man, it's a tough one, Joe. I will admit it's a tough one. I thought the Reds would be a team interested in James Paxton on the Red Sox, and I would have been willing to make that deal here. But who knows? Who knows? That's very interesting, Joe. He says sell. You've got about 15 more minutes to see what happens here, so we'll see, and we'll keep.
I'd like to see them get some pitching help because I think their lineup's okay, but
yeah, if they just got if they got a starting pitcher or two, maybe a bullpen arm.
Yeah.
I would be like, ride that. I'd ride that out, Joe.
Yep.
But it's also tougher now. Yesterday he asked, and it was like a half game lead or whatever it was. Now it's a game and a half, and I'm just sitting here. This like, oh man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one indeed. So shout out to you, Joe.
I mean, if you're the Reds, and look, maybe I don't know if they expected to be, first place in the division coming into this year. I mean, they were still in their rebuild, and maybe they're not eager to, buy. Because it's a long-term vision, right? This is a long-term build that the Cincinnati Reds are in this for. They're in it for the long haul. And I know they're leading the division and they want to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to sell the farm to improve the team. They're going to keep things relatively intact. My only fear is, to me, Andrew Abbott, Graham Ashcraft, Ben Lively, Luke Weaver, Brandon Williamson. I'm sorry, that's not ready to be a big-time playoff rotation, in my opinion, not yet.
Tommy Pham traded to the Diamondbacks. I guess that's interesting. And the Red Sox are on the hunt for, I guess, Colton Wong, which is very interesting. I don't know. Whatever. Market on this game real quick before we move on and go on to the rest of our card here. 45% of the money and 65%. Sorry, backwards. 45% of the bets and 65% of the money on the under in this game. And for the money line here, a bunch of big bets on the Cubs, 83% of the money, 86% of the money, excuse me, and 83% of the bets there on the Cubbies. And the line has kind of moved towards the Reds. That's very interesting there. All right. Next game at Cleveland, Houston Astros, who has made the splashiest move of the day, reuniting with Justin Verlander. Very funny that the Astros kind of just used Steve Cohen to pay off most of the Justin Verlander deal, but that is for another day. Framber Valdez versus Gavin Williams. Admittedly, Bobano, I love Framber Valdez, and I will always think he pitches well. It's just an innate thing in me. But he struggled in his last few starts. He really has.
Yep.
3 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs against the Rangers. That's okay because the Rangers are at least a good hitting squad. But 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs against the Oakland at Oakland, that's tough. It's been tough recently for him. And this Guardians team does not hit lefties. 27th full season, 22nd this last month against them. 95 weighted runs created plus. I wanted to bet an under here, but I just could not trust either party, really. Framber Valdez, I just thought maybe the Guardians could get to him here. And then Gavin Williams, now that this Astros lineup is back here, and I'll look at RotoWire real quick to make sure all the hosses are in. I just don't want to fade these fucking Astros anymore because I think, they've been kind of lying in wait, letting all the other teams like soak up the limelight. But they're still the big bad in this American League, and they're still probably my choice to come out of the American League, which is hilarious to say that. But it's Altuve, Pena, Tucker, Bregman, Abreu. So no Yordan today. And if Yordan got hurt at some point and I didn't see it, let me know. But you don't know your daddy here. I've passed. I'll be shocked. Thank God the Orioles finally did something more breaking news. Orioles are close to acquiring Jack Flaherty. Thank God.
That's a good move. Yeah, I'm not a big Flaherty fan because he can get into control and command problems and walks, but he's been better lately. I will say that.
I think he is going to be very good on their team. I've been a Jack Flaherty guy for a while now. He struggled with his injuries, etc. I like Jack Flaherty to the Orioles. That's a great move. Finally, God damn it. Finally. It's like I'm an Orioles fan because I like them and I want them to do well.
He will still help, and especially if he reins in the walks, he will help because that's another rotation where, Gibson and Cosmo Kramer and Bradish, and I like Bradish, but are these guys ready for playoff baseball as a starting staff? I mean, that's the thing. And they needed someone with a little more experience, someone that's had multi-years in the big leagues, someone that's a capable, good pitcher when he's on his game, and Flaherty can deliver that. And they probably didn't have to give up a ton of their prized prospects. And then their pipeline is expansive, Baltimore, and the prospect system they have. They've got a ton of blue chip prospects, but they probably didn't have to give up a ton to get Flaherty.
It's a fucking about time those assholes did something, though. Jesus, it took them a long time. I'm glad they are, though. This is a good move for them, and I hope they acquire another bullpen arm, hopefully in the next 8 minutes. I guess we'll see, but that's a good deal for them. Bobano, I don't know. Did you give your take on this game?
Yeah, I did take a shot with Cleveland actually, and because I like Gavin, I've been way more pro Gavin Williams than a lot of people, and I'm a little bit more negative on Framber, I'm sure, than a lot of people. I don't like. Now the concern is Cleveland. You're right, against left, he's putrid, And that's what I understand I'm going up against here with this bet, but we're talking plus 160. There is no Yordan Alvarez in the lineup tonight for the Astros. And look, Cleveland was up early in that game, and then it kind of fell apart for them last night against Houston. But at this price, I thought it was a small, again, very small shot only, but I did take it with Cleveland.
Juan asking for our thoughts on team total over 4.5. I think Gavin Williams is a young enough and good enough pitcher that the Astros haven't seen that he could get to them here, honestly. I didn't trust the Astros enough, and even though the Astros are sixth in the last half month, so from the half of July 15th on is when I did my righty stats, 122 weighted runs created plus. So they've been hitting them pretty well. But I just think Gavin Williams is pretty good. So I ultimately passed on that, my guy Juan. Thank you for asking, and thank you for being a member, my man. Perky asking about the Orioles money line. Perky, our guy BJ Max bet the 4-unit bet, which I forget which one it was. The Orioles as well. So you're in good company there as well. And shout out to Justin McElvey on the Astros team total as well. All right. Let's talk about the New York Metropolitans versus the Kansas City Royals. Wow, what a whirlwind of a couple of months for the Mets fans here. You trade your best two pitchers, and admittedly, I think that was a smart decision. I kind of like what the Mets are doing with kind of starting this new thing of buying prospects. If you're made of money and you don't care, this is a good idea. Obviously, teams like the A's can't do this. So if they're the Mets, I think this is a good idea. They're getting good prospects back, so that's very nice. But I wouldn't bet on here today. I think this is just, again, bad vibes on a team that's selling off their pieces. So no way I'm betting the Mets here today, and no fucking chance do I want to back Zach Greinke, who in an alternate reality where Zach Greinke cares a little more and isn't such a weirdo, he would be a guy that a team could trade for to just shake up their bullpen or something. But he's 1-11 and wants to kind of just ride out his career in Kansas City. So no thanks here. I just passed this game pretty easily as well. Bobana, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, over the total. I think you're going to see runs. Now, again, these are lineups that are all signed. Look, you see the New York Mets, they traded away Tommy Pham, or I think they're going to trade Tommy Pham. Minnesota looks like they're in on Tommy Pham.
They traded him to Arizona already.
Or Arizona. Yeah, you're right. Arizona getting Tommy Pham. So, yeah, I know their lineup now. They're selling off, and their lineup's probably worsened. But when you look at it still, I mean, Quintana's not someone I have a boatload of confidence in. I know he's actually pitched okay, 5 runs in 11 innings against the Yankees and the White Sox in his 2 starts. Greinke obviously has fallen on hard times. He hasn't been very good largely for the month of July, and even dating back into late June. He's had multiple starts where he's given up 6 runs, 7 runs, 4 runs. So hasn't been very good for the most part of late. So I thought pitching is suspect enough that at 9.5, I looked over.
Bobano, by the way, it is weird that this year has seemingly just been the year of 1-for-1 trades.
Yep.
Like this does not happen often. And suddenly for this trade deadline offseason, everything's just been 1-for-1. And that's what the Cardinals trade for Flaherty was a 1-for-1. And I was like, wow, it's just so weird. You do not see that often. And it's very interesting. I have nothing in this game. We've got 5 minutes or 4 minutes left in this trade deadline, and I continue to just update my Twitter feed. So it's very fun. And I guess Colton Wong is going to be at Red Sox, and who the fuck cares about that? Next game, Padres, Rockies. We're getting an opener. I guess I didn't update this. I should have. We're getting an opener, Pedro Avila. I had no desire in this game either, Bobano. I thought it was fucking hilarious that the Padres lost yesterday. They're one of 3 teams that have not won 4 games in a row this series, and they finally won 3, and they had it in their hands. But they fucked it up. And guess what, guys? Our long national nightmare is over. The New York Yankees have made a trade.
Wow.
Congratulations, Yankees fans. Kenyon Middleton, step on down. A New York Yankee now traded from the White Sox. Who the fuck cares? And who the hell knows who that guy is?
It's at least a trade. Yep.
Yeah, they did something. Congratulations, Yankees fan. That is hilarious. But do you have any Padres Rockies thoughts?
No, this one is a dead pass for me. I mean, it's just one of those where I'm not laying $1.75 with Avila here for San Diego, but Lambert, not exactly someone that I'm looking to bet on either. The total I was looking at maybe an over, but 12.5 is pretty rich. Pass.
Pass here for me as well. And there we go. The Dodgers are talking to the Red Sox about fucking James Paxton, but we'll see. The Red Sox and Dodgers love making business. We've got those aforementioned Red Sox here against the Seattle Mariners, and when they go on these losing streaks, they tend to just keep on losing. It's very frustrating. Now, this has been a particularly annoying one because it's not like they're playing horrible. The offense has disappeared. They've got walked off in back-to-back games against the Giants and then blew it late against the Mariners. Now, we've got Brian Bayo on the bump, who has not pitched well since coming back from paternity leave, as people have mentioned. It is concerning. His innings are up there and high, but I just don't know. I think he can still pitch well and dominate here. And again, this Mariners team has been a sneaky sellers today, so maybe you fade them here. I think Bryce Miller could be susceptible. So I looked over in this game. I was really considering betting the over, thinking that the Red Sox could get to Miller here and finally break out of this slump here. Market for this game before I pass it to Bobano, 55% of the bets, 53% of the money on the over in this game, and on the money line, 72% of the bets and 87% of the money on the Boston Red Stockings there. I can't bet the Red Sox here. I'll be honest. I just think until they start winning again, that's when I'll bet the Red Sox here, but I'm off. I lean over. Bobano, what do you have to say about this game?
I actually do have the Red Sox here. Just again, Seattle is trading away people left and right, and that's the main crux behind. I'm also higher than the markets on Brian Bayo, even though he's been remarkably erratic at times. Like I still remember, I have nightmares of that guy getting rocked by the Oakland Athletics a few weeks ago, but. I think in this matchup, he can settle in and pitch decently here against this now depleted Seattle lineup, which has seen, a lot of their bats. Ty France could still get dealt. We're waiting on Teoscar Hernandez could get dealt here in the next few minutes. So I think Boston's in a good spot here. Again, they're not playing great right now, but I thought at even money, Boston was worth a look. And I kind of agree with that over move, 7.5 to 8.
All right. It is 5:00. We'll see what deals trickle in right now. I'm going to be very interested to see. Obviously, now trade deadline is up. Bob Nightingale immediately tweeting that Dylan Cease is not or staying in Chicago. That's not really news, but congratulations to Bob for getting those likes and retweets. It's a tough one here, Bobano, about this game. I've been back and forth. Like I said, I lean over, but I don't think I'm going to move on this game. I'm going to keep my card tight here as well and see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. The Juice saying a nerfy there. Justin saying Red Sox first 5 here. BJ liking the Orioles a whole lot, betting on them. I might be on the Orioles here as well. Shout out to you, BJ. I'm passing on this game. Andrew G, can we get a quick recap of the best and worst disgusting trades? Sure, Andrew. I'll look see what I can find for you, my man, and see if I can get all the trades that I like and see if I miss any there. But we'll start talking about this fantastic pitching matchup, Diamondbacks Giants, Cobb versus Gallen. I've said it multiple times on this program. I love Alex Cobb. He's one of my favorite pitchers to watch. I love the bowling ball sinker when it's really working. And Zach Gallen tends to be a fade on the road here. Bobano, is it that simple? Is it just Giants or nothing here for you?
No, it's not Giants or nothing. I like Arizona a little bit here with my guy, Zach Gallen, in this game. I like Gallen over strikeouts, too. I think he pitches well here in this game against the Giants. Sanford, and I don't like Alex Cobb's got good ERA, but a lot of his advanced numbers aren't great, and pointing toward maybe him being a little bit fortuitous with the recent results that he's had. So at this price, I'm liking Arizona.
Arizona for you, Bobano. Very interesting. I've got nothing there, and let's go to this last game as I try to get my shit together here. Oh, bum market, real quick. Let's touch on that before we move on. 50% of the bets and 46% of the money on the Diamondbacks there, sidewise. Total, I expect everyone to be on the under, I would assume. 79% of the bets and 65% of the money on the under, unsurprisingly, there. All right, last game. I don't have a line for this game. I think the Oakland A's pitcher might be wrong. It might not be Ken Waldichuk, but we're for sure getting Lance Lynn for the Dodgers here in his debut. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Lance Lynn just became a good pitcher on the Dodgers. I wouldn't be shocked even a little bit. So I'm looking to back Lance Lynn of going forward, honestly. And I do have a rule of not betting fatties. That rule will be broken the next time Oakland or next time Lance Lynn pitches for the Dodgers here. But I will not be laying that juice against the A's here. So I'll pass here. I'll watch his first start. I hope he actually struggles here so then I can get a better price on him next time because I think the Dodgers will figure his shit out. So I'm passing this game. Bobana, what do you have?
Well, now that we know, Waldichuk and Lynn is confirmed, and now they've posted side in total.
Beautiful.
In this game. Total of 9. I like the over a little bit. I'll put a few bucks on that. I think there's a spot where the Dodgers should be able to get some offense going. It was putrid to see how they were not hitting over the weekend against Cincinnati. So I would expect the Dodgers to pound Waldichuk. He is not someone I have any confidence in at all. And I think the Dodgers, a wake-up call type of night, I think, for their lineup. Lance Lynn, look, first start with the Dodgers. I'm sure he'll be amped up, but it's not like his form is very good. Coming into this start at all. I think Oakland might be able to score at least a couple. Dodgers do the rest. So I like over. Total of 9. I thought if that total opened 9 or better, I'd be a buyer on the over, and that's what I am. Over 9 minus 115.
All right. Beautiful work there, Bobano. I had nothing there. Let's recap our action, and then we'll quickly gloss over some trade deadline pieces or trade deadline trades. Our guy wanted us to just go over some good and bad ones and let us know. Rem wanted to know what the money line price was, Bobana. What was it for that last game?
It's opened Dodgers minus 290 to 300, 325 at DraftKings, total of 9.
Jesus, 325?
Yep.
My God. That's
if it wasn't Waldichuk, I'd maybe take a little sprinkle on the A's, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet the A's. I'm not going to bet the A's.
Not with Waldichuk. Can't do it. No, not with that gas can. No, can't do it.
Okay, let's talk about our action here today. Sorry, I'm trying to get all these trades in order in my head now. Minnesota money line minus 121. The over in the Yankees Rays game over 8 minus 115. Shout to Sharpie. Over 9.5 strikeouts for Spencer Strider, minus 132 for me. Go watch his program an hour before mine at 2:10 Central, 3:10 Eastern. So shout out to Sharpie and the Balking Dead there. And I'm going to take Baltimore first 5. Going to be safer here, I guess. I try to avoid the bullpen. So first 5 money line, minus 107 for me. Bobana, what do you want today?
Like I said, high volume, but I kept things a lot lower in terms of the actual amounts with these. Miami minus 128, Washington plus 140, Arizona minus 105, Tampa Bay minus 110, White Sox Rangers over 9 minus 115, Cleveland plus 160, Boston plus 105, Boston Seattle over 7.5 minus 125, Detroit plus 105, Angels Braves over 9 minus 115. Might be my best bet this next one of the entire card. Minnesota minus 125 against St. Louis. New York Mets, Kansas City over 9.5 minus 120. And then for the strikeout props, Alcantara over 5.5 strikeouts minus 140. Freddie Peralta, Milwaukee over 5.5 strikeouts plus 112. Josiah Gray, Washington over 4.5 strikeouts minus 125. Justin Steele, Chicago Cubs over 5.5 strikeouts minus 110. Zach Gallen, Arizona over 6.5 strikeouts plus 115. Kyle Bradish over 4.5 strikeouts, $160 minus 160. Spencer Strider over 9.5 strikeouts minus 112 for Atlanta. Pablo Lopez over 6.5 strikeouts minus 110 for Minnesota. There you have it.
Beautiful work, Bobano. I We'll make this semi-quick, an in-depth whole analysis here. But Bano, if you have any trades that come to your mind that you thought were really good or that you didn't like, shout them out here. I'll start real quick. My least favorite trade, and this one won't make any shockwaves. The worst move of the deadline was the Royals trading away Nicky Lopez to the Braves for a guy that got DFA'd a week earlier, that they could have traded for a week earlier for basically nothing. They trade an actual good Major League Baseball player who they need more of to the Braves for this guy they could have got a week ago for nothing. The worst trade I've seen in quite a while, just on that standpoint. The Royals are so stupid. JJ Piccolo, their general manager, is incompetence personified. So that's one that I couldn't stand that I saw there as well. Another trade I did not like. I do not think Michael Lorenzen is going to be very good on the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm not very convinced. I think he's kind of just fine. I know the Phillies needed another arm, which will be very helpful to them, but is he going to make a start in the playoffs? I don't think so. Are the Phillies going to make the playoffs? I don't know. It didn't make me swing one way or another. Obviously, what you give up makes more important. Makes it more important. But just on the face of it, I just can't get down with that. But Ben, do you have any off the top of your head right now?
Actually, not so much today. I didn't find anything was overly that spectacular that anybody did today as far as trades go. Actually, Flaherty to Baltimore is not bad, even though I've got Flaherty a little more inconsistent than some. Atlanta, I like Atlanta getting Nicky Lopez. I really like that deal. I think he's a little bit of an undervalued player. The one that I think hasn't gotten a lot of discussion, I think it's nuts for San Diego to be getting Dick Mountain and G-Man Choi. I think that's horrible. What they did there.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Absolutely brutal. And by the way, it's not like they're knocking on the door of the postseason. They've still got a lot of fucking work to do to get into the playoffs, San Diego, at this point. I don't understand that. But I'll throw one that I really liked. And obviously they've been slumping. They've lost the lead in the division to the Baltimore Orioles. But I love that Tampa Bay got Aaron Savali from the Cleveland Guardians. That guy has been a moneymaker for me the last month or so, Savali, for Cleveland. He's pitched great. He's been going over his strikeout props. The one thing the Rays maybe are shorter on than they have been in years past is depth in their starting rotation, and Savali will go a long way to help that. I think their bullpen is still pretty good. The lineup has not been as good lately, but it was early in the season. They've obviously regressed, but the one area I think you could say Tampa could have used some help was a little bit more depth in the rotation, and they had addressed that with Aaron Savali. I know not a lot of people talking about that compared to some other deals, but that's a really good move there.
I agree with that. I really like Savali, and I thought that was a shocking move by the Guardians. On the opposite side, by the way, Josh Bell going to the Marlins now. Josh Bell has been fucking horrible for the Nationals. So I don't know how big of a deal that is, but he's going from the Marlins to the Guardians, or from the Guardians to the Marlins. Speaking of those Guardians, I had the trade that I've been going to think about now the most is going to be the Jack Flaherty one. That's probably my favorite trade of the deadline. But the deal that I've been thinking about the most has been Ahmed Rosario for Noah Syndergaard. I love the deal for the Guardians. I absolutely love it. I just been thinking about it, and I was like, Noah Syndergaard is 27 years old. Maybe I'm saying this because I bet on him yesterday and won my bet. He pitched phenomenally, came out with a fucking comebacker off the leg immediately, but whatever. I'm hoping he's fine. He's 27 years old. The Cleveland Guardians are one of the best pitching organizations, if not the best. The Dodgers are obviously right up there, but Noah Syndergaard has been like a, big city guy, getting into these big famous relationships, just getting distracted off the field. Send him to Cleveland where there ain't shit to do with a bunch of really good coaches. And I really like the move for them. And Ahmed Rosario, I was shocked again when it first happened. I was baffled. I thought he was good. When you look at him, it's like it's worse. It's like one of the worst defensive shortstops in the league. His offense has been horrible. It's like, hey, I get it, sure. So at 27, I'll take a roll of the dice. I'll take a roll of the dice. Noah Syndergaard experience. But yeah, it's fun. And by the way, Gene Segura, I guess, is going the other way, Guardian. So fucking yippee. Goodness. Did you have any other ones, Bobano?
No, I think those are it. I mean, I was not overwhelmed with adulation with a lot of these deals, quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, the only ones that really get the juices flowing were the Mets ones with Verlander and Scherzer. And again, I'll keep going on record. Maybe I'm a fucking big dumb idiot, but I understand and I respect that the Rangers made all these moves to their rotation. I just don't think that any of those guys are very, very good. Max Scherzer has been, semi-washed up for a little bit now, and he's just as much as well, not just as much, but he gets hurt all the time. He's following DeGrom's footsteps in that aspect. So I didn't
and
like
JV's
that.
not what he used to be either, Verlander. So yeah, that's the thing.
Agreed. And obviously him back in Houston, and he's going to be happier there. He'll probably pitch great, etc. But that just kind of felt meant to be. That just felt like rectifying a wrong that happened in the offseason. And again, it was funny.
Pretty crazy. Scherzer and Verlander teammates half the season. Now they're head to head with their respective teams in a battle for the division.
Very interesting. So I guess Rocco telling us here in the chat, since the Fish traded for a first baseman, they have to get rid of one. Garrett Cooper to the Padres for Ryan Weathers, which I guess. Like these are all just shuffling deck chairs right now. So it's very interesting. Rude Boy, I think
I actually think Miami's worse. I'd rather have Cooper than Weathers.
I would rather have Cooper than Bell.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agreed there. But Rude Boy, you become a member. I think you have to hit the $sign in there.
Yes.
Yeah, you hit
subscribe to the
$sign.
channel. Everybody should be. Yeah.
We'll scroll down and you'll find it there. The people in the chat will help you out. And if not, on your computer, you can do it easier. And reminder, Bobana, you came in second. So just never forget that. The Cappers contest.
Yes, that's coming up.
Live. Yep. Is live. You can buy your tickets right now. I bought mine this morning. Bobano came in second. We've discussed what happened to me last year enough. It makes me want to drive my head through my wall, how angry it makes me, and my fat thumbs. I'm glad that we have a submit button on our picks, and it's going to be a great time again. Bobano came in second place last year, a half point behind Pete as well. So, Bobano, I can't wait. I hope you join again, obviously. It'll be great. And you can buy your tickets right now on pubsportsradio.com.
Yep, and I'll be involved in it again. I have to be. I'm the defending champ. I've got to be in it. Simple as that. So I'm or not defending champ, I should say second. But when you finish that,
when you're in the money, you feel great.
It felt like it, yeah. So yeah, I've got to go in it, and everybody should be. Yeah, Cappers. Let's make it bigger and better than even last year it was. So again, get involved with that, and like I say, become a YouTube member as well.
Yes, sir. So shout out to you, Rude Boy, and don't forget a part of that as well. We're going to do the Cappers contest show again, having a Circa Millions ticket in there as well in the contest. And this year, our Cappers contest show is going to be for the members only. It's going to be members only. So you could only watch the show and vote live if you're a member. We're going to get the sharpest minds in there and hopefully come in the money this year. If you're not a member, you can watch the replay after and see who the selections are. Only members can vote live and watch the show live with Jimmy and I making the picks every week. It'll be a whole lot of fun. So Rude Boy, get into that membership, become a greenman, and do that today. Bobano, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, that's it. Deadline passed, and it looks like that's about it. Teoscar Hernandez and Ty France, a couple of those Seattle bats stayed put, so they didn't get traded. So that's about it. Let's hopefully have a good night in baseball. A little tricky night coming out of the deadline with some lineup uncertainty, but looking forward to the night ahead. I'll be back on Betting with the Bag this Friday with Jimmy, so we're looking forward to that. And football season's right around the corner. I know we'll be firming up that schedule pretty soon with that.
Yes, it's going to be very exciting. More announcements to come as well. Again, keep saying it. We're going to say it for the next 5 weeks. Signed up for the Survivor contest, the Cappers contest, both live right now. We've got poker tournaments happening this month as well. Winners of that gets a ticket into the Cappers contest as well. And even if you're in the Cappers contest and you win a poker tournament, we'll just give you the $100 back that you entered. So it'll be a great time. Nonetheless, you basically get in there for free, and it's just easy times. Thanks, everyone, for reacting with us to this trade deadline. Not as exciting as it could have been, but it's still nonetheless a very, very fun one. As with all of you guys, everything is more exciting. Rocco, Clint, Vitalis, Woo Woo, Rude Boy. Hope you can become a Green Men Sue, Woo, Kenny Woo, Steve G, Clint, like I mentioned, Justin McElvey, Tori Coker, BJ in the joint. Shout out to you, BJ, rooting for our Orioles here today. Vitalis, Londo, Christopher Commentini, Andrew G, Nasty Nate was in here, Philly Eagle Flyer, Big Cash Glizzy, all you guys, we appreciate everyone. Hit the like button on your way out. Shout out to you, J-Dub. Fuck! The Dodgers traded for Ryan Yarbrough. It's annoying. That's not the right lefty they were supposed to trade for. It was hopefully for Paxton. Whatever, that's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Say hey to us on social media, guys. See you guys next time for another edition of Say Hey Plays.